This is Steve Jobs, the legendary co-founder of Apple, the man who revolutionized personal computing, animated films, music, phones, and even digital publishing. But behind the black turtleneck, the obsessive perfectionism, and the global success was a quiet influence that very few people know about. A book, not a business book, not a tech manual, but a spiritual autobiography that changed the way Jobs thought, worked, and lived. He read it once every year, and when he died, every person who attended his memorial service was gifted a copy. Today, we're going inside that book, Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, the book that shaped Steve Jobs' mind and legacy. Autobiography of a Yogi is the story of Paramahansa Yogananda, an Indian monk who helped introduce Eastern spirituality to the Western world in the early 20th century. It's not your typical biography. It blends mystical stories, philosophy, and personal accounts of Yogananda's spiritual journey. He talks about levitating saints, time slowing during meditation, and seeing light within. To many, it sounds unbelievable. To Jobs, it was essential. The first time he read it, he was 19, a restless college dropout searching for deeper meaning. Shortly after, he traveled to India seeking spiritual clarity. This book and that journey would define how he approached life and worked from that moment forward. The book's central idea isn't about religion. It's about going inward, about trusting intuition over logic, simplicity over excess, silence over noise. Jobs once said, "Intuition is a very powerful thing, more powerful than intellect." That belief is deeply rooted in what Yogananda taught. At Apple, this became his superpower. Jobs didn't build products based on focus groups. He built from instinct, from feeling, from a belief that the most elegant solution is always the simplest one. Much like Zen Buddhism, which also influenced him, Autobiography of a Yogi taught Jobs to remove distractions and focus on essence. The result? The iPhone, the iMac, the iPod, all born from simplicity. Before we continue, if you're finding this story valuable, subscribe to Shelfmade. This helps us bring you more mind-expanding stories from the world's most successful thinkers. Let's keep building greatness together. Jobs didn't just read Autobiography of a Yogi. He lived it. He practiced long meditations. He followed a mostly vegetarian diet. He spoke often about detaching from ego, something he admittedly struggled with. But spiritually, the book gave him a lens through which to view his role in the world. Not just as a CEO, but as a builder of tools that could elevate human potential. Even the Apple campus, now known as Apple Park, was built as a peaceful, circular sanctuary, a place for flow, for energy, for clarity. These ideas echo the teachings in Yogananda's book, that your environment shapes your mind, that your mind shapes your actions, and that the internal world matters just as much as the external one. Jobs wasn't the only tech visionary moved by this book. Mark Benioff, founder of Salesforce, credits Autobiography of a Yogi with helping him build a values-driven company. In fact, Benioff took a sabbatical to India to deepen his own spiritual practice, the same journey Jobs took decades earlier. Benioff has said, "You must know yourself before you can lead others." That's straight from Yogananda's philosophy. Other CEOs, investors, and creatives continue to cite this book as life-changing, not because it teaches how to scale a business, but because it shows how to scale yourself. In October 2011, Steve Jobs passed away at age 56. At his memorial service, each guest received a small brown box. Inside was a copy of Autobiography of a Yogi, his final gift, his final message. It wasn't about iPhones or product launches or keynote speeches. It was about stillness, meaning, consciousness, and perhaps that's what made Jobs truly different. He didn't just build technology. He infused it with humanity, with purpose, with soul, and it all started with a quiet little book. If you found this story powerful, check out our next breakdown, where we explore the sci-fi novel that inspired Elon Musk's mission to colonize Mars. Subscribe to Shelfmade and never stop building yourself.